Welcome to BlueBoxPHP tutorial series. In this tutorial we're going to be looking at the date format. That's formatting dates in the data table and also date type input. So if we first just load our project sample. And select our page and build it. We can see we just have a bookings form. It's got a client name, arrival date, departure date. So the first thing I'm going to do is change this date format into a more easy readable format. So if we go to our bookings table, that's what we're looking at, and we'll go to data box. If we select arrival date, in the database column information where it says name arrival date, we can edit the actual database column format. So the date format we'll use is this one here. You can select any from the list or type in any PHP date format. Okay, if we rebuild that, we can now see that it's in a much more readable, friendly format. And we'll do the same for the departure date, into the same format. Okay, that's great. Now if we look at the add new booking button, we can see we've got name, email, whether it's a phone or walk-in. The arrival date and the departure date are purely at the moment just text blocks, which obviously aren't very friendly. We've got a comments area, we've got a room type and a room number to be added at check-in. So we're actually interested in this tutorial with the arrival and departure dates. So we're going to change these into date picker calendars. So if we close the data box and open the add box, if we select the arrival date item, and in the item type we select date. This is the format we're going to display the date in. This current format is day of the week and a 3-letter abbreviation, day of the month number, month 3-letter abbreviation, and full year. So if we rebuild and select new, we can now see we've got a date format, arrival date Saturday 25th of June, which is today's date. And if we click, we open up the drop down calendar, and we can either select the calendars from month list or cycle through the months, and any date we select is the one that's displayed in the box. If we now do the same for departure date, make that a date type as well, rebuild the page. Okay, so arrival and departure dates can now be selected from the calendar. But what we'd really like to do is to bind the departure date to the arrival date, so that the departure and arrival date show the same date, and also we can't book a departure date that's before the arrival date. So if we now go back to the arrival date item at the bottom of the editor tab in date, we can see we have a list to be able to bind to another date. So we're going to bind the arrival date to the departure date, and we'll rebuild the page. So now when we select an arrival date, 10th of July, we can see that the departure date is also automatically set to the 10th of July. And if we try to set the departure date, we see we can't set a date earlier than the 10th of July. So we can set any date after, but no date before. Now, we've actually bound them to exactly the same date, but in most hotels there's going to be at least one night stopover. So really we want to bind the departure date to the arrival date plus 1 day. Well, we can do that. If we go select the departure date, what we can say here is, for the selected date and for the earliest selectable date, we can put 1 in. This means that it's going to be the date plus 1 day. So if we now rebuild and select our dates, we can see that arrival date is today's date, Saturday the 25th, and the departure date is tomorrow, Sunday the 26th. And same again if I select another date, July the 10th, which the departure date is automatically the 11th. Now we can, under these circumstances, select the 10th, the same date. It may be an afternoon meeting or a business client staying over for the afternoon, but as a normal default it's at least the next day. Okay, so that concludes our tutorial on date formatting and setting the date types for input and editing.